I want to teach you guys a very basic principle on how you can make more money and save more money than the people around you making the same money as you. You can even become wealthier than these individuals that are basically making more money than you by just applying this very basic principle, okay? And now everybody wants to talk about this deep logistic shit, I don't know, like being intelligent or like some microeconomics or something, but they're not willing to understand the basics. So today I'm going to teach you guys the basics. Because if you don't have a good foundation in life, then your life is going to be shitty. And I don't want you guys to have a shitty life. So if I can prevent you from, making the mistakes everybody else is committing, then everything is good. We're going to have some couple of scenarios, okay? Green represents money, right? As you all guys know. And horizontally we have time, right? And vertical we have income. And okay, so let's say for example you start your entrepreneurial journey, okay? Let's say for example, why is this? Let's say for example it's right over here. You're 19, okay? You're 19. You finish high school, you've gone through the indoctrination camps and everything else, and now it's time to make money, okay? And you don't want to work a shitty job, okay? So you start a venture, but as you become independent, you not only have income, but you also have expenses. So let's talk about your income, right? People's income is rarely linear, right? Unless you work a shitty job, your income will be something like this. But if you're an entrepreneur, especially in the beginning, it will not always be steady, right? It would actually be something like this. Like, it will sometimes go up and down, up and down. It won't be the same, right? I mean, realistically, it won't be the same, especially in the beginning. Now, what is the problem with making money? The problem with making money isn't your ability to make it, but your ability to keep it, right? Most people, they do not know how to protect their wealth. And today, I'll teach you guys also how to protect your wealth with very basic principles. We're going to keep it linear, okay? Just for the sake of this illustration, because I don't want to showcase something like complicated, because if I do so, you guys won't remember it. And if I just keep it simple, you guys will remember it, and that's like the point of this whole video. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, guys. I mean, I would really appreciate it. But anyways, let me just explain it. It's linear just for the sake of this illustration, okay? Now let's talk about expenses. Most people's expenses are right over here, right? They're linear with their income. Their expenses are linear with their income, and it looks something like this. And why is this? Because when they think that their income has to be linear, they also think that their spend has to be linear, and that's why there is something like this. So the average peasant, right, who's a loser, and you aren't a loser because you're actually trying to become smarter right now and you're actually getting some knowledge. So the average peasant, this is their income, this is their expenses. The average peasant got this much left for savings, right? For savings, for some errors, for some backups, I don't know what it is, but it's just look how little room there is, right? But we have to understand, as an entrepreneur, our income fluctuates. So the amount of money that you make as an entrepreneur, right, it isn't always steady, right? And it should look like something like this, right? It goes up and down, and you get these pockets, right? These pockets of losing money. And now I have to be honest, this actually happened to me before, and these are realistic experiences, right, which I'm trying to explain to you guys. But this is actually, you create these pockets which are actually trying to lose money. And now what happens with expenses, right? Usually it's very hard to reduce expenses, right? So let's say for example you have like a 700 car payment you have to do every single month. Now you have a 700 car payment every single month. It's very hard to reduce it. You have to pay it, and you get a headache. You cannot pay it, and you have a problem, right? Now let's say for example right over here we have 10 grand, right? 10 grand. And back in the day when I was making 10 grand a month, I was still broke. I was still figuring out everything, checking how everything works, right? But I was still broke. But that isn't the point of this video. The point of this video is that my expenses were fairly correlated to the money that I was making until I had 10k, and it just drastically dropped. It just dropped and it just became straight. And why is that? Because I knew that I couldn't always count on making more money, but I could always count on maintaining the money that I already had, right? So I just limit my expenses. So what's the difference between the first guy and the second guy, right? The difference is that once your income increases and your expenses just stay the same, you get this big gap right over here. And this gap right over here is called freedom, right? We get freedom. But this gap right over here, guys, it's called the freedom gap. And I mean, it sounds pretty sexual to me, but I like it, right? Because It's freedom. And the bigger the gap is, the more freedom you're going to experience in your life. So guys, as we all know, this is the freedom gap right over here, right? But you guys have actually two goals which you simultaneously need to know if you're trying to get rich. The first thing is that your income has always to be on an uptrend, right? As we all know, it has to be on an uptrend. The second thing is that you need to have enough room. Once this gap starts, wiggling, you get like expenses, you need to have enough room for risk. Now, does this principle make any sense? Like, give me some W's in the chat. Like, bro, guy, I'm drawing on a whiteboard for you guys to understand. Like, I can't make it more simple than this. Increase your income or keep it the same like pace, or slowly increase your income and maintain your expenses. Now, I needed to graph this in such a way where you guys understand this concept. And there is no shame in living in living with your parents. There is no shame in like clocking in to make money. There is no shame with living in a 1-bedroom house, as long as you're being productive, right? And as long as it's a good working environment, right? And you're being productive and it helps you elevate and always keeps your like expenses stable. And the hardest thing to get rid of is expenses, right? That's why a lot of people, a lot of celebrities actually, they go broke. A lot of celebrities go broke, right? Even though it's common sense, a lot of you guys actually know this. Once they get like $100, they just spend it like that. Just $100 and they just pour. They just spend it like that. So this has to be your measurement, right? So this, you need to know this. And look at this. Why is it? It's also like drawn with a bit of uptrend, right? And why is that? It's because that means that your life quality does increase, right? But ladies and gentlemen, if you're going up, so let's say for example, I'm going to do this, right? If you go up and it just goes to like 20k, like your net worth goes to 20k, and then it just drops like that, right? It drops 30%, then it goes up and it drops again and goes up. See how you still have enough wiggle room, enough management for risk, and you're still living in freedom. So everybody that's waking up with anxiety, right? It's just because that they haven't figured it out yet. They haven't figured it out. And you don't need a master's degree for this. You only need management skills, and you shouldn't actually give a fucking single fuck about anyone or anything that they say to you. You just don't need to give a fuck. You have to crack this code. Like, it's a mental code, bro. Like, you need to know this, and you need to come to terms that you're not going to be flexing like everybody else in their 21s, like sitting in some Lambos and flexing, for everyone. And you actually have to know that you're going to be sitting here and you're going to be grinding and you're going to be locked in, building a fucking real business, getting real fucking money. And that's the name of the game, ladies and gentlemen. That's the name of the game. And I mean, this is freedom for me. Now let's go to a situation where like a lot of people live in, right? A lot of people have this problem. A situation where a lot of people live in. So let's say this is the levels of their expenses, right? It just goes up and down, right? And then we have the level of income, right? And they don't know how to make any money, and they go fucking broke. They get in debt, and they don't know how to make any sort of money, and they go in debt. This right here is the life of an average American, right? An average fat guy in America living there. And you know what this is called right over here? I'll put it in red so you guys know it better. This right over here. And I know you guys, I can't wait for people to make fun of me saying, yeah, this is basic ass shit, everybody knows, but you guys don't understand how fucking important this is. A lot of you guys just don't know it. And this right over here is called slavery. It's called slavery. Damn, I can finally see something. But anyways, the point of this is that you are in debt. You are in debt, right? And you are owing someone some fucking money. So you're a fucking slave. You must work until you pay the debt off, right? So the question is, do you want to live in freedom or do you want to live in slavery, right? That's the question. That's the name of the game. And now what happens, bro, when you're in a different situation, right? Now you have all this money, right? All this money, and you invest it. You invest it, right? And it becomes something like this, right? You have a similar graph. Hold on, let me just make it better. And it goes like up. And now it's time versus investment. And now this money that you were trying to flex on, motherfuckers, you've turned this into an investment. And here, ladies and gentlemen, here is where the rich get wealthy. And that is the secret to wealth, bro. That is the secret to wealth in a very basic way. In a way that every single peasant can understand this. I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. And I mean, today I was sitting down and I was thinking about how can I simplify this concept in a way that people can actually understand this, right? Actually, people that they were not like complaining that they don't know what I'm talking about, just something very simple, right? And I want you guys to be rich. I want you guys to be rich, and I want you guys to make a lot of money. And I want you guys to understand something. When you're trying to get rich, don't make the same mistake as your mom and dad made, which is get a mortgage, work a 9 to 5, like eat genetically modified food, watch television every single day, and eat medications which they don't even know what they're taking. And if you can avoid all of these things and do the complete opposite with all of those 5 things which I just mentioned, right, you're going to have a better life, and you're going to live a better life than everyone in your family. So I simplified this concept for you guys so you can understand this and actually go out there and win. This is the sauce, right? And if you understand this, you will win. I mean, like your freedom will get back, right? And it also compounds over time as time over investment. And that's when you go from working for your own money to time and money working for you. And that's the key to become free.